Good afternoon. Glad to have everybody here. Looking back at Friday night, so very proud of our football team. We talked all week about our response, and we obviously had a setback the week before, and to go on the road in conference play, playing against another opponent that was also hungry for a victory, a game that really was very back and forth there early in the first half all the way through. I thought our guys responded in a tremendous way. Defensively, we gave up a few runs, had a little bit of a couple miscommunication things there early in the game. Against an offense that presented a couple different challenges, multiple looks. We had arguably one of our best players, Austin Hall, that went out due to a targeting call. Another young player, Thomas Pickens, had to step in and fill in. But our defense, they ran to the football for 4 quarters. We were able to create takeaways, played with tremendous passion, a lot of big hits, some impactful plays that helped set up good field position. And then offensively, we started to see the tempo, the execution. We talked all season about wanting to be an offense that's known for owning the football, and we were able to accomplish that Friday night, and it really paid good dividends for us, being able to get into the red zone. I think we're 6 for 6 in the red zone. Anthony, Riley both played at an exceptionally high level. Our offensive line, you can see their continued growth, in their protection, but then also, they're late in the game, being able to open up some big running seams, and allowed us to be multiple, in what we were able to do, throwing as well as running, and then special teams that played another big part in the game. We were able to create a takeaway there with our kickoff coverage, which I thought was one of the major plays in the game that helped us kind of break it open, and then just continued great effort and execution by those guys. Really pleased with what I'm seeing, and now it sets up for this week. A Western Division conference opponent coming in, top 25 undefeated Navy team. This is a game that everybody's excited to be able to play in. It's going to be a wonderful atmosphere. We need to have a great crowd. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm so excited about the opportunity that's in front of us. We know it's going to take another tremendous week of preparation, from our guys, from our coaches. But we're excited to play in this one.
How different is preparing this week compared to any other week?
Every week presents its own unique setup and makeup when you're evaluating a team and what their strengths are and what they do. Obviously Navy, their offensive presentation is something that you don't see very often. We spend a lot of time in the off season looking at it, trying to evaluate what best fits our personnel. What's the best way to be able to contain what they do. And it's always going to be a challenge. And so, our kids, we're looking forward to implementing the plan. The thing that makes it so difficult with them is you're concerned so much about what you're doing in your presentation, but then also to simulate the look that they have is as hard as anything. When you look at your scout teams and your look squads, that's definitely very difficult to do, especially with how fast and efficient that they are. And then they've got great playmakers. Their quarterback, a receiver, slot back, fullback, all guys that can really make you pay. I think they're averaging 412 yards a game rushing, so it's very, very efficient. And then last week they had to have a 2-minute drive to go win the game, and they marched right down the field and were excellent in their conversion on that. So this is a team that you definitely is difficult to prepare for, but our guys are excited about doing our best at being able to get prepared for them.
Coach, you got a blowout win last week, but you guys had a dozen penalties. Is there anything that's going on that you feel like can be fixed down there?
We definitely have to continue to play more discipline. The procedure penalties are things that's just focus, and that's something that we've got to get eliminated. There's a couple calls that it's going to be give and take. You're going to have some things that happen from effort. We had one chop block that the lineman slanted one way into another guy that we really couldn't control as much. But there, anytime you have 12 penalties, it's something you have to evaluate. I think our guys they've done a much better job controlling themselves and playing with a controlled aggression. You know, we haven't seen we haven't seen the personal foul penalties the last few weeks, which is something that I'm glad we have under control. And we've got to be more disciplined in how we execute, especially with the pre-snap stuff that is total focus.
Having said that, though, every time you've been around 100 yards or more, you pretty much won. And the game that you only have 30 yards of penalties.
Yeah, don't tell anybody that, Jarvis. I mean, I don't. You know what? It is unique. You know, we need to play discipline because having penalties and that puts you in so many more challenging situations where you're behind the chains. Our kids, I thought they did a great job, especially offensively, because we had the majority of our penalties were offensively here this past week. But you go from a 3rd and 5 to a 3rd and 10, and you have to making that conversion is much more difficult. We had a couple of the 3rd downs we did not convert on. We had a false start that took us from a 3rd and 9 to a 3rd and 14. Well, we gained 12 yards in the next play, and so when you see things like that show up, those are the small plays that make a big difference. Especially in the tighter games that you do play, and so that we have to improve. We've got to eliminate the penalties. We've got to continue to make sure that we're playing with a better focus and not putting ourselves behind the chains or giving somebody an easy, making it easier for them by giving them a free down.
Do you think that a game like this, with a team like Navy that really doesn't get penalized that much, despite the way they block people, the penalties should be?
It's going to be a huge factor in this game. I think that obviously you look at statistically, Navy doesn't, they don't get called for many penalties. It's not something that they play with really good discipline. That's one of the strengths of their team. And so if we go out there and we are penalized and they're not, then those are the hidden yards that put somebody in a position to have better success. And so we've got to make sure that we work to win that penalty battle.
What's the mental challenge when you may not get as many opportunities because of the way they play?
You have to stay focused and you have to be efficient, and that's something that offensively, if you're not going to see the 14, 15 series that you might have in a game, and now you're playing with between 10 to 12, you've got to be efficient in what you do. And a lot, the 3rd downs, the 4th downs, offensively and defensively, the importance of them are escalated to such a high level because this is a team that wants to control the game with the time of possession. They want to limit your snaps. Takeaways and turnovers are huge. All the things that we discuss weekly and what it takes to win a football game are just magnified this week because of the style of play.
It feels like, you obviously weren't here 2 years ago, but this has been a game that this program can't get over the hump a little bit. Is there an awareness of the challenge in front of them and the fact that they haven't been able to be made?
Well, I think there's an excitement for the opportunity, and this is one that this team. Speaking of Navy, they've competed for the divisional championship and then the conference championship last week or last year. I'm sorry, and we know this is one of the best teams in our league, and they've proven it. They're top 25. They're undefeated. They're doing an exceptional job again this year. So to say that for our team to look at it as anything more than just another opportunity, it's a great opportunity because it's against a great football team.
Do you have an update on Patrick Taylor's status? He sat out on a Friday night.
No, he's going to be one that we evaluate throughout the week.
And Coach, playing against a triple option requires a whole lot of discipline. Your defense has not been known for that discipline this season. What are you going to do this week to try to tone that up? For us, everybody's going to have a job. Everybody's going to have an assignment, and then once you go to execute that assignment, you've got to do it in a physical nature, and then you've got to make the play. And I think so many people get caught up in playing an option team and they just focus totally on this is the scheme, this is what you have to do. Well, you still have to do it against a really good football player. And then when you get the opportunity to make the play, you've got to win that battle. And so, yes, we've got to be focused. We got to be focused on the little things and making sure that we're executing the plan that's in place. But past that, and we also have to put ourselves in a position. Once you put yourself in a position, then you have to actually go make the play.
On defense, against a triple option team like that, you got a lot of young guys playing. Have you had to tear that down even more in terms of assignment football and how you want these guys to be able to confuse themselves and.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what makes Navy such, so challenging, is they're so far along in their program with their coaching staff, running the same system. So we're not gonna show them anything that they've not seen. And that, because you go through 10, 12 years of film, I mean, they've seen just about everything. And so as we go into this, we've got to make sure that we can execute our plan. And that once you have that plan in place, then you've got to be able to fundamentally put yourself in the right position with proper technique. And so, but if you just line up and do one thing, they've seen enough to be able to hurt you and attack you in a variety of different ways.
How important is it going to be to put together some consistent drives and finish those drives and keep those guys off the field?
I think it's huge. I think our third down conversions are going to be big. The being able to establish drives and the biggest thing is when you get into the red zone, you got to score touchdowns. And you look at last year's game, we had the ball in the fourth quarter. We were down one possession, and we had a turnover. And those are things that turnovers are going to play a huge role in this game. Hopefully we can create a couple of turnovers to get some of those extra possessions, but that's something that Navy's done an exceptional job of themselves, is that they don't turn the ball over much. And with their defense is more of an attack style this year, playing more man coverage, pressuring more. It really puts you at a higher opportunity to have those negative plays. So we've definitely got to be on top of our game.
A lot has been made after that UCF game with Riley coming up to you and assuring you that he was going to bounce back, that kind of performance wasn't going to be the norm. He goes out 7 touchdowns, offensive player of the week for the conference. What's that like for you as a head coach to know if Riley does have a bad game, he's going to bounce back, and he's still improving as a quarterback week in, week out?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything, and I guess it's a tribute to his leadership and the work ethic that he has and what he puts into this program. I knew when we're sitting on the plane, he comes up to me after Central Florida, and apologizes and says that he's how he's going to respond. I had no doubt. I mean, it was something that I've seen. I've been with Riley for better part of a year and a half now, and I know what this program means to him. I know how much work he puts into it, and everybody's going to have mistakes. I mean, heck, I didn't put him in the best positions in the week before, so we all had to improve. We all have to get better, and so there's not one person or one performance that's going to dictate everything in a game. But when you have somebody that can really have a great self-awareness of their performance and what it's going to take to improve that's what you want on your team.
Did you watch the Navy game live this past weekend, and what did you see?
I watched the second. We had practice, and so I watched the second half of it, and I saw a team that they were out to a big lead. Air Force did some good things to put themselves in position, went down and scored late, and then you saw a team that has got a great deal of confidence, a wonderful amount of leadership, and some guys that are really good football players that maintain composure to go down and do what was necessary to win that football game. And so you see the passion, you see the energy. I've got as much respect for Coach Nimatalolo as any coach in the country. And every time I'm around him, he's just his class, character, everything that he does. And so you see that show up with his football team, the way they play. And so we know that this is a team that's seen the highs, that they've been behind. They know how to respond to adversity. So it's going to be a heck of a matchup come Saturday.
Mike, Nimatalolo's been there 20 years. His OC 18, his DC 22. Just about every key coach has been double-digit years. How critical is that to running the system so efficiently, and how the heck does he keep all these guys for so long?
Well, I mean, it's a great. They're in a great situation, and I think that shows. That's a compliment to obviously his leadership and the loyalty that his staff has to what they're doing and the place that they're working at. And so they've done a wonderful job. And anytime you're able to maintain that cohesiveness within a staff, your players, they know what to expect. You're able to push, challenge. It's something that those relationships have been built. And so there's they're not going in and trying to reestablish the values of their program each and every year. So that's something that definitely shows up on the field. It shows up in the confidence of what they're asking their players to do and the trust their players have in what they're being asked to do. So that definitely plays a big part in what their success has been.
Curtis Akins had 16 tackles last year against Navy. What's his status headed into this week?
Curtis will be another one that we evaluate here as the week goes on, and so we've had a few guys that have been banged up, and hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of them back, and we get a couple that we have to reevaluate as they got banged up in the game on Friday. So we'll have a better sense of that towards kickoff.
Not that you look past any games, but when the schedule came out last spring or whatever, and you saw not just this game, but also this short trip to Houston, did you kind of identify this stretch as what it's become, a litmus test for competing in this division? Did you already kind of foresee that?
Once you get into conference play, you know that it's going to be, each and every week is going to be a great challenge. Then you look at how the dynamic of it all really came to be, especially after the Central Florida game got canceled, and now you've had back-to-back East Coast road trips. You've had off night weeks, and now you're playing your first Western Division game is against the reigning champion, and then the following week's going to be a short week. All we can control is this week, and our team, I haven't talked to them about anything beyond this week. Our one goal for this week is to do everything we can to be 1-0, and but we know that you get to this point of the season when it's all conference games and getting into divisional games, that every one of them are big. So you control what you can control and prepare the best that you possibly can.
Coach, real quick about Zach Abbey, the quarterback. Is he any different than the one that you saw last year, and what his strengths?
I think each player has a unique strength. I mean, Abby's. I think he's averaging almost 180 yards a game, rushing, doing a phenomenal job. In his decision making, he really has been a great spark for what they're doing. They've always had great success, but you see the threat that he is, his athleticism. He's shown, especially last week, he showed in the critical moments, being able to make the big completion when necessary, when it's time to throw. I know the big receiver they have he's averaging like 40 yards a catch, so they can definitely stretch the field vertically if you're not sound in your coverage. But he's a wonderful decision maker, and then can definitely make you pay when he gets out in the open field.
Toughest thing about them is when they try to suck you, or you get sucked up and then they throw it.
Yeah, they present a lot of challenges, and you literally have to defend the entire field, sideline to sideline, from the A gap all the way out to the sideline, and then when they play action, they can push it down the field, and they've got some really good players with really good speed that can hurt you. All right, guys, thanks so much.